this is the title of this is 365 in the Office, and what this is really about is that it is a overview of the features and some of the information in regards to the Office 365 product, which is the reason why it's being presented as part of Small Business Month. But I'm going to do my best to show all the features and also do a little bit in terms of the way that the way the software is packaged for sale and for your use in terms as a customer. I also wanted to say that I'm not a representative of any company that sells this service. My experience with it is that the City of Rocky Mount, whom I'm an employee of, I serve as the Budget and Evaluation Manager. I also serve as a member of the Chamber Small Business Committee. But for the city has been using this package, Office 365, for about 6 months now. And it works very well. I've been very happy with it. We're continuing to expand the product as we go forward. But we certainly are learning more about it, but I do feel comfortable kind of providing you an overview of what this package can do for you as a business as you move forward. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the screen off. Okay. And again, I'm trying to do my best to mute everybody so that everyone is heard. So when you are taken on mute, just understand that that's just the way we're doing it for this part. But I will give people a chance to ask questions at the end of the presentation. So we're going to now. I'm going to turn off. Like I said, I'm going to turn off the screen. That's going to allow us to go to full view with respect to the screen, and you see that there. I'm going to. I want to switch now. Try to look at seeing what I can do. If you'll just bear with me for a second. I'm going to now talk a little bit about it and go ahead and close that out. Now, the reason that Office 365 has come out is that in the world of computer software, there has been a significant change in terms of how software is being deployed. For a long time, software was such that you bought the software off the shelf or you bought it online. I can remember back in the days, I may be a little younger than some of you, but I've been working with Office-based software for about 30 years. And I can remember back in the days when everything was on floppy disk. You got your software box. It had dozens and dozens of floppy disks that you had to load in sequential order. And if you got one wrong, you had to do the whole reinstall. And of course, that has now changed to then it changed to CDs, and then it changed in some cases to where they gave it to you on a flash drive. And then more recently, you were able to download the software. But the challenge for software providers has been that they have had to deal with the fact that by distributing software in that fashion, that they then find themselves maintaining and managing multiple versions of the same software. And if you think about it, think about Microsoft Office itself. There are many versions of Office that are being maintained. When Rocky Mount actually migrated to Office 365, we were actually still, in many cases, had computers that were using Microsoft Office 2003. And the reason why is that for a lot of businesses, unless you were an educational customer or a nonprofit customer, but for business customers, personal customers, and government customers, Microsoft Office was sold basically as an individual licensed product. Even if they sold it to you to where you could purchase licenses instead of having to purchase the actual software multiple times, the license prices were pretty significant. And it was being sold in a fashion that it was not economical for a lot of companies that had large numbers of license holders to be able to deploy the most current version of the software. which forced the software company into being in a position of having to maintain multiple versions. Well, as new companies have come along, like Google and other companies, Zoho is probably something you may be familiar with that does online office software. They have provided their software as a service. It's referred to as SaaS, software as a service. Some of you are probably familiar with that. And what that allows them to do, whether they do it for free or whether they sell it on a subscription basis, like on a monthly subscription or annual subscription, is that it allows them, from a tech support standpoint, to be able to limit the amount of variance in the versions of the software that's available. If any of you happen to use, say, the Google Drive portfolio of products, like their word processor or their spreadsheet, you'll notice that when they want to make a change to the software, they pretty much just do it. They don't tell you that they're going to do it. They pretty much just say, we've made this change to software. So like when they want to add a feature, when they want to change how the platform looks on your screen, they do it, and then they kind of leave it up to you then to catch up. That certainly works a lot better with younger users of the software, but it also minimizes how much work they have to do in a customer support standpoint in terms of having to manage multiple versions of the same software. So what Microsoft is doing in a sense with Office 365 is that they are catching up. At the same time, what Office 365 does is that it still gives users the opportunity to actually have the software available in two different formats. First of all, Office 365 still allows you to have the actual software on your computer. You download it from if you purchase an Office 365 subscription, you actually have the ability to go online and download current editions of the Office 365 software. It allows you, as long as your subscription is alive, to update to download updates to the software, including if they go into a new version of the software. And what that means is that you do not have to be hooked up online to actually use Microsoft Office. But in addition, Office 365 has virtual versions of the software of their products that are maintained online in the cloud. We're going to look at those in a little bit, that perform most of the functions of Microsoft Office. There's a few things they can't do, but they do about 99% of what people need Microsoft Office to do. It allows them to use it online. It allows them to store it online through a product called OneDrive, which works like Dropbox or Google's Drive or those type of products. It allows for easier sharing of documentation between users, even users within your license group or perhaps users outside your license group. It also allows for better deployment of data on mobile devices. What Office 365 is really about is that it's about Microsoft making a better effort to make their products available through mobile devices, and this includes Apple and Android products. In fact, you probably heard last week that Microsoft is going to get out of the mobile business. The Windows Phone is going away. So in the future, their products will be primarily developed, when it comes to developing their mobile products, will be primarily developed for use on Android as well as on Apple iOS or iPad systems. So let's go ahead and start. First thing I want to show you is that yes, you can use Microsoft the way that we actually access Microsoft Outlook. And if you look at the screen, I've highlighted this icon, and it's actually a copy of another icon because I'm in split screen right now, so that I can best manage this. And what it does is that it's just a quick link that goes to a website called portal.office.com. And if I bring that up, and I'm just going to bring it up here, and yes, I am using Google Chrome because Microsoft has kind of gotten out of the browser business as well. They're focusing primarily on the software that they're best known for, the Office Suite and some other items. They're kind of now starting to not go into things that they may not be as strong in. But what you would see is that you would log into, we're going to first focus on the virtual aspect of it, the cloud web-based aspects of it. I'll do a little bit about the software that you can download, but I'm going to focus most of my attention on what it looks like online. You will come here to this screen, and you would have your ID, which in my case, because I have a work account, is my work ID. And then you kind of go from there. Hold on just a second. I was just quickly muting somebody. You go from there. and you would log in. So it remembers my password. So I click on sign in, and then it comes to kind of a master screen. And the first thing you see is that you have the ability to download most of the Office products onto your PC. And you see that you would have the option to download Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. You can also install other products. Just clicking that real quick. For example, Access and Publisher. We talked about Outlook. One of the other products that it has on there is Skype. Some of you may have been familiar with Skype as a separate product when it first came out. Skype is a web-based video conferencing and phone tool. It allows you to make phone calls online. It also allows you to do online video conferencing. Microsoft purchased Skype a couple of years ago, and they have added it. And it's actually available both for home and business use, but it is now something that they sell through the Office 365 suite. We're using here the Pro Plus version of Office 365. And when I show you the business side, what you will see is that there are multiple different versions of 365, just like there have been with other versions of Office. There are versions for the home, versions for business, versions more for a single user, versions for multiple users. It's really designed to be a scalable solution, whether you're a single user at home, you have a home-based business, or you're managing a lot of employees across different locations. The other thing, of course, also we point to is OneDrive, which is their cloud storage solution, and it's how you would store documents, and I'll talk a little bit about that. There's some other tools that they have available. There is something called InfoPath, which is a form-generated tool that allows you to do form delivery. That's something that they've made available to us. And then there's something also called SharePoint. And what I will tell you is that if you work in a larger organization, but it's something that you can if you're doing project management or working in a project team, SharePoint is a solution that's really designed to maintain documents as well as databases and other Office products, Office documents, to be able to manage them in a virtual environment, share information in real time, update information in real time, as well as to be able to create the kind of project workflows that you need to best manage information with respect to a project or within your business. Talked a little bit about the Skype for Businesses there. And it's a very basic, it does allow video conferencing. It allows for phone calls. We use it here at the city as kind of like a messaging tool. Before we had Office 365, we had a full version of Google. We were using Google for Government, and it allowed us to use Google's messaging app to be able to do messaging when we didn't want to just use pure email. We could use messaging, and this kind of replaced that for us in a large sense. And then last but not least, you'll also see that it does also allow for phone and tablet loads, and you can see all the different types of phone softwares and phone OSs, operating systems, and tablet operating systems that it manages, including iPad and Android, as well as here on the phones. If you happen to have a BlackBerry, it'll maintain that. Symbian, which is the OS for Nokia, that's predominantly a European. It's become more of an OS that's predominantly used in Europe, but those are also available. So what they have done is that they are doing their best to make the products that perhaps Microsoft is best known for in the business environment, which is the Office suite, to make those products available, one, for download, which is part of your subscription, as well as with Office 365, as well as making them available in a virtual environment. So now I want to look at here are some different products that Office makes available online. And the way this screen works is this is kind of like the main screen. Up here you'll see a toolbar. Here, this button here that has the 9 squares on it, that's a screen that button's available on all screens, and that allows you to switch the product that you want to access. Most of the time I start off in the email product, which looks a lot like Microsoft Outlook. For those of you who are familiar with Microsoft Outlook, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up right now. And as you can see, it actually just brings up Outlook, but it does call it Mail for simplicity's sake. And you'll see here that it has your email box looks normal. As you can see, you've got your folders. Clutter is its you could say is its bulk email filtering system. As you can see, I do get a lot of emails. Most of those that are, I read everything that's important, but unfortunately I still get a lot of junk. And clutter is really your way of that. If, for example, you subscribe to a listserv and then you stop really looking at the listserv regularly, Outlook will kind of notice that based on the fact that the emails are not being opened, and it'll start separating out those emails out of your inbox feed and putting it into what it calls clutter. It can be turned off, it can be filtered, and of course then you have the ability to create folders and other types of items. We migrated all of our stuff from Gmail, so all of our we used a company that did that, but you can also set up your standard IMAP SMTP connections as well. To create one is very simple. I would just create a new email, click up here. I can type in an address. For this example, it's like I was sending an email to Desiree at the chamber. Her email would come up. It has the ability to look back and create an address book, and then I can just type up an email. I also have a lot of ability to work inside the email, change fonts, font size, add indentions, bullets, numbers, even do some works with superscript, and be able to do some of the editing features like you would have in Microsoft Word. Attach documents, attach pictures so that they can appear in line with the message, emojis if that's really something that you care about. Just a lot of stuff that you can do with this product, and I haven't even gotten to do everything. You can save it as a draft, or you can go ahead and send it. You can access attachments from up there. There's multiple screens that you have from. You can either send it or you can discard it. When you discard, it'll ask you if you really want to or not, and you delete it. Reading a message, I'm just going to pull this one up. This is from Business Insider. It works very well. We, of course, being a city, as city government and being a network system, we have some filters and security provisions that we put on it. And there are companies out there, and when we did our installation of Office 365, we used a company that specializes in the migration because we had email that we needed to migrate over from Google. We had workflows and other things that we were doing that we needed to move over. But also from the standpoint of security, we used a company that actually handled the migration and handled the implementation. They were able to provide some training and some other services. For a lot of people, if you're doing it as a small business person, it's something you may be doing on your own. But Office does provide some. Microsoft does provide some assistance as well. But as you can see, the email just comes up. Again, it works just like you would expect Outlook to work. Next, I want to briefly look at the calendar feature. Calendar, again, works very much like the Outlook calendar. As you can see, you can look at your dates by the day. You can look at it on a work week basis, looking Monday through Friday. You can look at it by the week, and of course, then you can look at it by the month, and then you have the option of looking at it from a today. And as you can see here, when you look at it in features like say looking at a day, it'll actually give you over here, and you can hide that if you want to, but it does give you the ability to look at kind of like a rundown or an agenda of what you have in the coming day. You can add calendars to it. You can, whether it's by groups or by feeds, but pretty much it does enable, they have expanded it to enable a lot of the features that were available in Google's calendar function. It also has the ability to pull data, say like it can show us what the weather is going to be. That's a feature that it adds. Of course, we have not edited location, so this is the weather for Microsoft Office in Redmond, Washington, but if I wanted to, click on Edit Location. Again, this is like one of the settings, and I could just simply type in that I want to know, that I don't want to know Redmond, I want to know Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Pull that up, close out Redmond, click OK, and it'll change the feed. And as you can see, The weather now comes up for Rocky Mount, and it's going to be 81 and sunny. It's currently 81 with a high of 82. Again, this might not be something that interests you, but it is a feature that's available in the product if you want to access it. So that's really an overview of the calendar. When you want to add an event, like say I want to add something on the 15th, you click on the date, you click on new. Excuse me, I'm trying to delete this. This is an email coming in. One of the challenges of trying to do a demo like this when you're using your active system. So I would say I can add people. For example, it has a scheduling assistant, much like Outlook has one for the people in my group. And I can set the dates and do all that. Then up here, I can tell them that if I can add it, because we have Skype integration, if I was wanting to do this as a webinar, I could add it as a Skype meeting. I can attach documents to it when I send the email out, add email reminders, put in other documents. There's a lot of stuff now allows you to do these emojis. Scheduling Assistant, as I said before, works very much like how Scheduling Assistant works in other products. For example, if I wanted to, I could put in my downtown manager, John Gesso. His calendar is set up to show busy, that he's going to be busy today, or he's going to be busy next Wednesday from 10:30 to 1:30. John is our downtown development manager. So, I can do that to see if I have a conflict, or if I did, obviously, it would tell me that there's a conflict. I can change him. I can change him from being. I can bring up his other information. So those are the kind of things you can do with this product, very similar to what you can do with Outlook currently. There's notifications, like for example, the notification comes up when you're working in Outlook or working anything, and again it'll show you, for example, that there's an email notification that I need to look at, which I can dismiss because I know what that one's about. So we're going to close this out. And we're going to go back. I want to go back to the main menu at this point, which is when I click on Office 365. The people feature, I believe that's kind of like the address book, or it really is kind of the address book feature of Outlook. And bring that up here in a second. And again, it allows me to bring in it. You can see just about everybody that's in my address book is here. I know that Alan Matthews is. So it brings up his information, some of which is in there. You have an address. It works very similar. It's pulled the information from Outlook. So go back to Office 365. And as you can see, you can switch up here just about anything that you need. Newsfeed is something that's interesting. It's really kind of like an internal product. It allows you to follow. It kind of works like a little social network within an organization. Again, it's really more of an enterprise product to kind of work with, but it does allow you to kind of follow what's going on. It's something we really haven't used yet, but it is something that you can look into, but it is something that is there for use. You also have a blog feature that allows you to do internal blogging, and again, a lot of this is designed to be an intranet-based product. It's really meant for larger organizations to have as something if they want to share information. One of the things that I do in the budget office is I do a lot of training, and I do training with staff on budget processes. And so going into next year, because we were in the process of installing this during the current year, so I did a lot of it in the old system this current year. But next year, I'll be looking at kind of using these features to kind of have information set up so that when people want to learn, are working on the budget, they can come here and get their information. So that's just an example of an additional feature. Again, that's for larger businesses, or if you just want to have a very simple if you have a small business but you want to have a very simple intranet that you can use with your coworkers or your employees to give them information, say about things that you need to talk about, or training materials, particularly if you're a business that you have people at multiple locations or aren't necessarily coming into your office on a regular basis, like a lot of field workers. This is something that they would have access to. So now I want to look at OneDrive. because really, to explain how Office 365 works well in a virtual environment, really OneDrive is the key. Um, OneDrive works very much like other products that are out there that store data on the cloud. A lot of you are probably familiar with Google's Drive, and many of you are probably familiar with Dropbox. Those are separate products. Dropbox really doesn't have files. What it does have is it has extensions that allow you to directly connect with your own Office products to be able to access files and be able to update them on the cloud. And when we're talking about the cloud, we're talking about storage of your files and information online in a real-time active environment where they're not being stored on your personal machine or on like a thumb drive. This is being stored on a server or on a fleet of servers somewhere else, where you're paying a subscription service or you're receiving a subscribed service to be able to access them. And just to give you an example, we're going to go to, I'll show you, like, for example, these are the files that I use for CIP training, capital improvement program training for our office. And you'll see I've actually got them stored here as PDFs because actually these are older files that got migrated over, and they're here in their PDF format. I can upload files there. I can actually create new files. For example, I could create a new Word document here. So let me do that real quick as an example. I'm going to create a new Word document. You just saw me do it. It now goes to the online Microsoft Word product. So just to show you kind of what we're talking about here, I'm going to type in some quick text. And then I have most of the options that you are going to want in Microsoft Word, but not necessarily all of them. And the reason not all of them are installed is that in the online version is that you are trying to maintain integrity with respect to bandwidth. If you have too many features, it's going to slow down the way the software works. So, I can still find and replace words. I can still, check spelling, add comments. I can still view it in different formats. I can still do inserts of add-ins from other Office products or pictures. I still have all those features. I can still work at it like if I was doing research papers and add endnotes. I can still copy and paste. There's a lot of stuff I can still do with it. But if you notice here, it has a feature called Edit in Word. And what that allows you to do actually is that if, for example, that I wanted to do some higher level editing, or there was a feature in Microsoft Word Online that I didn't find that I know that I've used in the more traditional Word, it would actually, if I had installed Word on this particular machine I'm using, I can click on Edit in Word, and then this will come up, and it's just basically, it's a security provision, and I say Launch Application, and I will tell it to continue working in Word, and you will see Microsoft Word shows up, as you can see right here, and hopefully it'll bring it up on this screen. If not, I'll bring it over from the other screen. But as you can see, Microsoft Word is now loading on my machine. It is connecting to my Office 365 account. And as you can see, it is showing me this. Now, we have what's called protected view. This is kind of the default of how Word works when it opens documents. So I'm going to say Enable Editing. And then the full version of Word is going to come up. And as you can see, I have a lot more features. I have, the ability to do mailings. I have a lot of other features that are not included. I can, convert it. I have some more work that I can do directly with respect to Acrobat. A lot of different things that I can do here that not necessarily I could do in the online version. Again, the online version of the software can do just about 95–99% of what you need it to do. Some finer tuning of editing, you would need to use the full version of Word. But again, with Office 365, you get both. You get the opportunity to download Microsoft Office products onto your computer, and actually when you look at the packages, you can download them on multiple computers with just one license. But at the same time, if you need to work on something online, you can work on it online. for example, then when it comes to actually saving the file, if I was working in my traditional version of Word and I clicked on Save, which I did up here in the upper toolbar, and I'm waiting for it to pull up. Actually, we're going to go to File, and you can see here that it actually gives me some options. It says it's saved as document, but like I wanted to save as and save it in a different file, I can actually save it onto a OneDrive, as it says current folder is in OneDrive. Now I'm going to bring that up, and you'll see here that it's just like I'm working in a standard Word document. So I could save it as document, or I could save it in a different file. When I'm done, I just close out of Word, and I've come back to this and it's saved. Now from there, I can share it. I can either invite people in my group. For example, if I wanted John Jesso to have access, I could give him access to it and give him the access to be able to edit it or just view it. I can get a link and I can show that to people, and I can get it as an edit link. They would have to be in my network, but I can give that to them. And then also I have the ability to see if other people are. And then there's this thing called pending request that actually get that. In the past, when I've uploaded stuff, people may have a request saying, hey, I'd like to view a certain document, and this is something that we did before. I actually made it available to a group, but the first time I sent it out it wasn't, so some people were asking me. So for example, if I send a document out to a certain group of people, others hadn't gotten access to it and they want to look at it, I can say, okay, do I want to extend access to them? And because we have external users that are outside our system, we are starting now to get the ability to do that as well. So those options there are available. But I want to go back to Word. If I wanted to open a file directly from Word, I could. And of course, it gives you a lot of different ways of doing it. There's a lot of templates already built in, like calendars and flyers and all the different kinds of things. For those of you who like to use Office templates, I'm not a huge fan of them, but they are out there. Or you can just create a blank document. So it creates this document here. And when it comes time to save it, I can save it, and then it allows me to save it online. It allows me to rename the file. When you're working in a document in the online editor, in the online software, it automatically saves the changes. So you don't have to sit there and click on save. It's automatically saving the changes on an as-needed basis. I can download copies. I can download them as PDFs or the ODT file. I believe the ODT file is the one that is used, that's kind of like an open sourced version that's used with products like Open Office and other products that are shareware that you don't have to pay for, but don't have as many features and are older, based on older systems. I can print the document to my local printer. I can share it, as we talked about before, or embed, or actually create an embed that would allow the document to be seen online through a website. There's obviously a lot of things that I can do with these documents, very similar to what's available for me to use online. When I'm done, say with this, as you can see, it's created another tab specifically for Word. I can close that out, and then it goes back to the tab from before. So I'll also show you really quick Excel and PowerPoint, because I did see some questions were asked and I want to get to them. You see here how you have the ability to create various workbooks, and you have various templates of those. Again, you go to Excel, and most of what Excel has you can use. Again, not everything that you would find in your home or in your physical computer copy of Excel is on here, but most things are. Like one thing I noticed is you can create charts in the Excel online. So for example, let me just type in some information. Like if I wanted to just do a sales report, a very quick sales report by month. I put in my first 2 months, then I highlight those, and then I can draw this down, and I wanted to show 12 months worth. It'll automatically scroll down and fill in the rest. And I just start typing in numbers, randomly. I'm not going to do that. 12, 8, 7, 6. Now, if I wanted to, I could, like I normally do with Excel, I could highlight those. I could create a column chart. And you can see it creates that chart automatically. But when it actually comes to editing the chart, it's not going to let me do that as easily. There's some stuff I can do, but I have to work within some very limited information here. I can change the axes, I can change the labels, but I can't do the fine editing I can't do the fine editing that I would want to do with like changing the columns or doing some of the other stuff. To do that work, I would need to actually go to edit in Excel. Go to edit in Excel and actually make those edits, like if I wanted to change the color of the charts. But again, if you're working online, this is probably not something, and again, that's because I'd already opened it. Waiting for Excel to open. As you can see here, it has opened. It opened behind. But again, I could go in here. I'm working to enable the editing. I could go in here and actually, like, for example, I want to remove these. I want to remove these lines here. I want to widen. When I want to widen. I want to widen these column bars. So I'm going to reduce the gap width. And I wanted to add labels, add data labels. So I could do that, then save as, and just save it as a document. And save it in OneDrive. And I've done that. And I close. And if I went back to OneDrive and pulled up the file, which I would, the easiest way, as you can see, it works kind of like works like Windows Explorer. So I'm going to use modified date to find it, because it should be the first thing to come up. You'll see there it comes up, and when I come up, it's made the necessary edits to it. Now here, all I can do is view it. But again, because I've opened a file, I can either choose to edit it in the full version of Excel on my computer, or I can choose to edit in the browser and use it as Excel online. Also, I can choose to share it from this screen. This is kind of like the preview screen that comes up when you open a file from OneDrive. I can choose to share it, or then I can, if I have it connected, say, for example, if I have it connected to data from another site, I can work on refreshing the data that's in that workbook. So it does allow you to do some things like set up data connections. So that's all I want to do with that one. Last and not least, I want to go to PowerPoint, and again, it brings up. It's very similar to how normal PowerPoint works, which means in reality It's great if you have, even if you work on a PowerPoint presentation on your personal computer, you can upload it into OneDrive, and then you have it on the cloud. You're not worried if you have an internet connection. You're not necessarily worried about having to have it from, say, a flash drive or from an email. You would actually have it. But if I wanted to, I could, do it as a slideshow. So, like, I just type in something real quick, and I click on slideshow. Trying to get it to read, it's not wanting to. It's having a good old time. But theoretically, I should just be able. Okay, there we go. It finally goes to slideshow. So it goes to reading view, and then I say start slideshow, and as you can see, it's like it was using it as a normal slideshow. Click escape, and it goes out of it. I can print it to PDF. I can share it with people. It's very similar if you've used the Office suite of products. It's similar to how it works, but you're actually working within the Microsoft family. So if I want to, from there I could close it, or I could save it, or I could go back into working it within the editor. OneNote is the final product that they have on here that I'll just take a second. I haven't worked as much with OneNote, but OneNote does allow you to set up workbooks, to set up notebooks for taking notes. It kind of works like a notebook taker. Some of you may have used it, but it is something that you do have available. Seeing if I have anything on here, and if I do, as you can see, it allows me to add pages for various things, add sections. In some cases, it allows you to add information to where you can do notes. Some of you may use the product Evernote, which is a product that I use a lot, and it's an online product, but this is kind of very similar to it in that if you see stuff online or that you're taking notes of things, it is available. It also, of course, is available as a web app, so it's something that you could access from your phone to take notes on your phone and then make them available here to see them on your regular computer in case you wanted to copy and paste them in the documents or have them available for other work. So those are the various features that exist. Now I want to take some time and I want to talk a little bit about the product itself. And again, this is from the Microsoft website. Now, all I can do is show them what they're currently doing. I can't show you what you would find working through a reseller like how Rocky Mount did it, or City of Rocky Mount did it, or some others. You will find that there are companies out there, I imagine there are some in the Raleigh area, that do offer the opportunity to come in and set you up. They'll probably charge a little extra for that, and they also then sell the Office 365 product. And the way it works is that these are the business options, and then I'll show the home options a little later. And you can see they have different levels that first of all feature different products that are in there. They also, in some cases, don't include email. For example, the $8.25 Office 365 Business does not include email. What they all do include, though, is 1 terabyte of storage per user. That's 1,000 gigabytes. Some of you probably have a 1 terabyte drive now, but 1 terabyte's a lot of data. It's very good. The other thing you'll notice is that once you start getting up to about the 825 level per month, which is if you pay annually, which is about $100, as you can imagine, it's about $100 a year. You actually also get the opportunity to install the app as on your Office, and based on the level, it allows you, as you can see. One of the things that it does is that you can actually install on up to 5 PCs or Macs per user once you have the opportunity to install it. So what that means is, for example, if you have a work laptop and you have, like, say, a work computer at home, that is a more of a desktop, you could load it on both of them plus have virtual access. Then you also have the opportunity to have it on your tablets and phones. And again, that's 5 tablets and 5 phones. So for example, if you have, say, an iPad and an iPhone, you can have it on both products. And these are the app versions of the software. The app versions that are available for mobile device, which I really can't show you, it would take too long. Those are limited in their features, but they do allow you to view and edit the documents, whether it be a Word document or Excel document or a PowerPoint. There are some people now who actually run PowerPoint off their phone when they go to a meeting. They take their phone, they hook it up to the projector, and that's how they run their PowerPoint. They don't bring in a big computer or even a compute stick. So there are options. Again, as before we talked about, you do get access to online file storage with it as well. You can see that you have some email access. The online meetings thing, really that's primarily tied to back to the Skype for Business that I will spend 1 second looking at with you. You've got the social network options that we talked, the internal social network options we talked about. There's just a lot of usage. Now you see here that with these products, here that they're offering, you would have up to a maximum of being able to purchase this for about 300 users. For pretty much the small businesses that are watching that shouldn't be an issue. But remember, what they're doing is with each user, they're probably restricting your email. So, for example, you may think, okay, I only need 1 user if I have, like, say, 3 employees. But the reality is, if you want them to be able to each use the Outlook feature, you're going to have to purchase 3 licenses. So you're still paying for 3 users, but you have the ability then for them to have it. If they have 2 computers, or if you give them a computer and you want them to also have it on their personal, they can do that. And because of the way that the license works, once the license is expired, say they leave your company and you decide not to pay it anymore, they won't be able to use the software on their home computer. The next time they try to get an update, it'll lock them out of the system. But what it also does is that it enables your software, both your software online, of course, is automatically updated, and software on your computer is continuously updated. So the version of your software on your home computer remains relatively up to date. You don't have to worry then, because you're buying this as a subscription, you're paying either a monthly or an annual fee. You're not having to worry about having to go back out and shell out a couple of $100 per user to purchase a new version of the software. The software continues to update as it goes along. To look at home options, for those of you who may not necessarily want to look at it from a business perspective, you see a lot of different options. Again, they have a home, what they call 365 home, which is $99 a year or $9.99 a month if you want to pay monthly. Again, these are the online and versions, and you can see. You can also see, though, that they do have the more traditional versions of 16 that you can purchase, and all it is a one-time purchase that allows you to purchase the applications and have them on your computer. But as you can see, those are single PC licenses, whereas if you purchase the home, which is $100 a year, and that's just some marketing, if you purchase the home for $100 a year, you would have the opportunity to load it up on up to 5 PCs. You would have the ability to upload it on 5 tablets or home. So this home version is a very good way to do it. Like if you have multiple kids and you want them to have it for their homework, and say they're using Gmail for their personal email, this is a perfect option for them. They have the ability to store stuff online, but at the same time they also have cloud storage, and like in the case for the home version, you could actually have 5 users on there, and each of them would have a terabyte of storage available. They can use Skype. Again, it's kept up to date, and it's designed. These are, of course, designed really for home use. But there are other options available. We don't really have this information in here for governments, for nonprofits, and for education. They do have some different options as well. But mostly what I've talked about is for individuals and small business. So I want to go ahead and look at the chat because I know there were some questions that were asked. First one from Bill was about AnyMeeting, the web conferencing software we're using. just to tell you, any meeting is not an Office 365 product. It is a web conference product. I was looking for something that I could use on trial, and it was the one that they had available, and it's worked pretty well. I've actually been very impressed with it. Of course, there are other products like GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, some other products that are out there. Can calendars be shared? Absolutely. Thank you, Pam. Yes, calendars can be shared. It works very much like how your Outlook calendar works, in that you can go in and, like, for example, if you get a meeting notice, be able to go in and edit. So that's absolutely true. Again, that's it. The way, and again, that's where you'll have to kind of work with product support. There's a lot of information that's available online. Like a lot of other software today, you're not going to find a lot of tutorial information about Office 365 available in a book. You're going to have to go online and use either videos or use online documentation or work with product support to get some of that information and to do some of those setups. Or you may look at seeing about finding a consultant in Raleigh or even here locally who can help you with your Office 365 setup. Last one from Bob Land: have 3 PCs, 3 phones, and a tablet. Can we utilize and edit a master virtual calendar at the same time? Talking about setting appointments, I do believe it can do that. I do believe, Bob, that it's going to be able to do what you want to do in terms of virtual calendar management. But that is, and the good thing about these kind of products is that there are communities out there, support communities of other users that should be able to show you how to use them. For me, I've been able to do everything with meeting scheduling that I was able to do with Google. If you're giving your staff the ability to schedule appointments for you on your calendar, you should be able to use that with this version, just like you do with Google. Shouldn't be any problems with that. If there are any other questions, I'm going to open up the phones and see if anybody wants to. I'm going to open it up. And try to see if I can get it to where everybody can call in. I can hear people. Got another chat in. I'm trying to see if I can find. For some reason, it's not letting me unmute, and I do apologize for that in case anybody had questions. But again, if you want to ask me a question, and we'll just go ahead and use, for a final example, just go ahead and use the PowerPoint to do this. Just quickly make a slide to give you some of my personal information if you have other questions. And again, like I said, I do not sell this product. So this is purely informational. I'm a user, and I've been very happy with it. But if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you. And yes, this information, this webinar is being recorded. Someone just asked. The webinar is being recorded. So if you, we will make this available to you at another time. So it is available. So if you do have questions, you can reach me on the telephone at 252-343-5522, or you can email me at kwhypn@gmail.com. I am going to upload the video today, and I got to make a couple of edits to it, but I'm going to upload it today or tonight. Probably going to be tonight, but it should be available tomorrow. I'll have Desiree send out an email to all of you who signed up. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see it there as well, and we'll try to make it available through the Chamber on Facebook. But the video will be available for you to watch again. And again, let me know if you have any questions. But thank you, everyone, for your time. I hope you all pick something up from it. And let me check and make sure that there are any other questions. There are not. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for supporting the Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce and for supporting the Chamber's Small Business Month. Have a good day.